and welcome back to the Scoreboard Sports Podcast. If you don't remember, my name is Connor Kendall, and I'm joined with Cameron Clark. Cam, it's been like 8 years since we've done a show,
I
but
know. Finally done with finals at school and, kicking off summer. Got a crazy summer, so we'll hopefully be able to still record some episodes throughout the summer, but it'll be exciting.
hopefully crazy how?
So I'm going to be working FSY over the summer,
okay.
so I'll be up at Boise State, I'll be in South Carolina, in Ephraim and Ogden, so I should have a couple of off weeks here and there, but we hopefully should still be able to get some recording done during those weeks.
Yeah, we should. Bro, if you're up in Ogden, bro. Live, like face-to-face scoreboard show, that'd be crazy. No, I mean, I'm glad you have exciting plans. I'm just working, so maybe doing summer classes too, so nothing crazy exciting. Go. Yeah. I want to try and hit some baseball games, though. I mean, that's something I want to try and do, but we'll see if that pans out or not.
But what games you thinking about?
I don't know. So my sister's dating a guy from Texas, and so they've talked about possibly going down to Texas during the summer, and I would love to go to a Rangers game. I think hitting what's the I know they
Globe
just
Life?
Globe Life. Yeah, I think it's
Globe Life. It was Globe Life Field, but now I think it's like Globe Life Stadium or something like that.
Mhm. Yeah. So I think that would be a really cool stadium to visit. I mean, I like the Rangers. Two of my very close buddies, they're huge Rangers fans. Like, they grew up in Texas and just have lived on the Rangers baseball. So
there you go.
I feel like that'd be really cool. I don't know. I want to go to a Philly game. I've been to Philadelphia a couple times. Lived out on the East Coast, but never managed to go to a Phillies game. But we'll see. I think those are my two big stadiums, big teams I want to see next. So we'll see if that can make it happen.
It's fun. I've been to both a Rangers and a Phillies game in my life, but both on the road. I saw Phillies at Padres and then Rangers at Diamondbacks. So.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I feel like every time I go to a new stadium, it's always like the same team that the opponent's facing. Like, I was looking up, we might do a trip down to California in September, and my sister is going to a Jonas Brothers concert, and so I'm like, I ain't going to that. Yeah. So I was looking at baseball games for that day, and the stadium's at the concert's at Dodger Stadium, so the Dodgers won't be playing. So I'm like, oh, maybe Padres. I like the Padres. I like Petco Park. I've been there once, so that was really cool. Speaking of Padres, I guess your hat. Yeah. I've been to Angel Stadium a couple times. I mean, I'm not in love with Angel Stadium, but it's a nice, chill place. It's not the worst of them all, but that was the only team that is in town in California that day, and they're playing the A's, and I've seen the A's probably like 5 times, and I just but we'll see.
You've never seen the Sacramento A's, though.
I have not seen the Sacramento A's. That is true. Maybe I need to make my way out there to that ballpark.
There you go. That'd be sweet.
No, have you seen the renderings for their new one in Vegas? Like, that will be insane to go to. That'll be crazy to see. Isn't it? Like, it's like almost like an indoor, but there's like openings to allow airflow that kind of makes it look. Yeah, that thing looks insane. This is crazy.
It's a nice rendering. We'll see how much it actually looks like that, because I feel like the renderings are always spruced up. But
yeah, it's almost like the sphere of MLB parks.
Yeah.
No, that'd be crazy to go to. I would love to go there.
Cool. While we're on the topic of MLB, we'll touch on draft stuff and some transfer news. a bit later. But we were talking before we started recording. Just not too much going on with MLB yet. Still early in the season. Padres, Giants, Dodgers are all playing well. Rockies are not. Diamondbacks are even playing well. I think it's fun to see the NL West have the top 4 teams in all of baseball right now.
Yeah.
So that's been pretty exciting. But Jarren Duran for your Red Sox with a straight steal of home the other day. Or that was just today, I guess. That was
it today? Yeah, it was today. Yeah.
59.4 feet of a 59.4 foot secondary lead off of third before he broke to the plate.
That's crazy. Was that it? Because I think they played a doubleheader today. Was that the first or the second game of the doubleheader?
I think it was around 4 or 5 o'clock when it happened. So I'm not quite sure. I don't know if they played an early game and then one just right after that or not.
I think so. I could be wrong though. I'm trying to look. It was in the second game of the doubleheader.
Okay.
Where they won, thankfully, but yet Duran stole home in the top of the third. Yep. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the video, but I got the notification about it. So
it's sweet. You'll have to watch it. One of my buddies at work is a Red Sox fan, and he was amped about it.
Like, don't be fooled. Like, I bleed and die Red Sox. Like, they're probably outside of probably BYU. They're the next biggest team that I follow and die for. I mean, we're second in the East, but I feel like we're doing terrible this season, which is crazy. But so hopefully things get kicked up a little bit and my interest grows. But I just haven't been paying attention because I feel like we've been doing bad. But somehow we're up there in the AL.
Yeah, it's been, other than the NL West, everything else has kind of been quiet throughout the year. Another quiet thing that happened that I didn't realize until I went to BYU at UVU baseball game on Monday, and they announced congratulations. There's a guy named Paxton Schultz who made his major league debut last Sunday, and he went to UVU and Orem High School. He tied the MLB record for most strikeouts by a reliever in their first appearance. He went 4 2/3 innings, or maybe it was 4 1/3. I think it was 4 2/3, and had 8 strikeouts in his MLB debut. And so starter only lasted an inning and a third, and so they brought this guy in.
Who's he play for?
The Blue Jays. And they brought him up, so they signed him that day to the active roster. They were bringing him up just as a travel buddy for this one guy that they were promoting to the majors. He was already on the 40-man, but Paxton Schultz wasn't, and then they just signed him that day because another guy went down, and starter didn't last very long, so they threw him in there, and 4 2/3, no runs, and 8 Ks.
Jesus, he'll probably, with that performance, he'll probably be getting a lot more time.
Yeah. I mean, Justin Sterner for the A's, another local guy playing at BYU. He's gone now 12 2/3 innings without giving up a run so far this year. So he's playing well. Just got his first win the other day, first major league win, which is exciting for him.
That's great. Yeah, if only the current Cougs could pull out some of that stuff. But
yeah, a bit rough. It's fun. They're playing in Arizona State right now. That was actually their stadium was in my last area. So that's kind of cool. But
I try and catch as much as I can from the baseball games, and the ones that I don't, I get the updates. It's like a 12-4 or an 18-5. I'm like, what is happening? Like, what is going on?
Yeah, it's a bit rough sometimes. But you do what you got to do.
Yeah, I mean, we're not known as a big baseball school by any means, but I mean, like you mentioned, we have guys in the league. I feel like that should draw some higher caliber talent, I guess, to some degree. But yeah, it's crazy to get thumped like that.
Yeah. But they've been fun to watch. I don't know, anything else sticking out to you in the early season for Major League Baseball?
Not really. Well, I mean, the AL West is crazy. I think we mentioned the NL West is just stacked. I think you said the AL. Did you mention the AL West? I can't remember if you did earlier.
Not really. I
no.
just kind of mentioned like
But,
everyone else is just kind of not stacked.
Everyone is just there right now.
Yeah.
Everyone is just. That's probably the most competitive division, maybe outside of the AL East, maybe, but by a big margin, I would say that American League West is the most entertaining league right now, which I don't think we would have guessed that when we had our predictions.
Yeah, I almost wonder if you could even say the opposite, if it's like the least competitive, just because everyone's playing so mediocre. Like,
okay, well,
I think it's
true.
exciting. Like, I think it's exciting to watch because all the teams have been so mediocre. That's like, okay, like so far after 25 games in, it's anyone's game.
Yeah, I mean that's good for those teams. I mean, basically the division's up for grabs.
Yeah,
I would say, unless someone just goes on a run late in the fall, but yeah. That could be very interesting. But
I guess before we move on, one last thing: Eugenio Suarez, first 4-homer game in a while in Major League Baseball. He hit 4 dingers tonight for the Diamondbacks in Phoenix, playing against Atlanta. So, if I'm not mistaken,
19th player to do that. That's kind of that's not a very long list, actually. Surprisingly,
no, it's not. Yeah, he's only hit
that's a huge accomplishment.
I guess this isn't updated. Let me find his updated stats. Prior to the game, he was only hitting 167, but he had 6 homers. So he becomes the first player this year with. Wow, the Braves still won that game.
Yeah.
That's insane. Okay, Eugenio Suarez is what I was looking for. But yeah, as I'm looking this up, back to Jarren Duran for a quick second. 2.88 seconds is all it took him to get home, which is absolutely nuts.
That is how long do you think it would take you to either sprint from third to home or from home to first? How long do you think it's going to take you?
I don't know, but not that. I can tell you that much.
No? What's the distance? I can't remember. What's the distance from?
90 feet.
90 feet? Okay.
But, I mean, his lead, he was already at 60 feet with his lead off.
I didn't know his lead was that big. I gotta watch it. What am I doing?
It's pretty sweet. But going back to Eugenio Suarez real quick, he bumped his batting average from 167 to 202.
Yeah, that helps.
Yes, it does.
When you hit 4 homers, that'll help your average.
Yeah. It's kind of nuts.
I'm trying to see if they have a different angle of his stolen base. All I have is him coming in who's at bat right there? Is that Raffy? Yeah.
I think so.
Raffy is at bat, and all I can it just cuts to Duran basically just sliding in for home. Oh, here we go. Here's a. Oh yeah, he started booking. He had probably about. His leadoff was about. Gosh, I don't know. 15 feet, so it wasn't huge, but he started sprinting basically right away. He got off that lead, waited like 2-3 seconds, and just went. I'm trying to see what the tell sign is, because the pitcher, he doesn't. His windup, like he's constantly looking at his pitcher. He doesn't look like off, like, over to first or, like, back to second or whatever. Like, you know how some
Yeah.
pitchers have a weird wind-up. So I wonder... I feel like that's kind of gutsy, but, geez, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was something for sure. But
Yeah.
moving on to the NFL draft, what were your biggest takeaways from the weekend?
Before we probably talk about the big takeaway from the draft, mine is... Yeah, who? Okay. Yeah, before we get into that can of worms, I think the biggest... If you had to pick one team who had won the draft, who would you say? Because I have a clear winner. I have a clear team who I think destroyed and won the draft by all means.
I think the Packers did really well. I liked all their picks. I really like what the Browns did, and I like what the Steelers did as well.
Okay. I'm actually...
teams.
I'm going to look to see what each team... So you said the Packers, your first one.
Yep, Packers drafted 2 wide receivers in the first 3 rounds for the first time in franchise history or something like that. And then Steelers, I really like their pickup of Will Howard in the 5th round. Was it Will Howard?
Yeah.
No, it was Kyle McCord.
Yeah, Kyle McCord.
I like that pickup for them, and I like... Who was the other team I said? The Browns. I love how they got 2 running backs, 2 quarterbacks, a tight end. Like they pulled in a lot of good skill positions.
So the Browns graded at a B+
Okay.
in terms of grading. This is based off of NFL.com. Green Bay got an A-. And then you said the Steelers, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Was your last team?
Yeah.
They rounded out with a grade of an A. So all those teams were very well. I think the team that smashed the draft in terms of where they were last year and what they needed to go into this year was the Giants. I feel like they just absolutely... I thought they did so well at the draft.
I liked seeing Dart get taken.
I was going to say, the biggest probably controversial pick that might come up is Dart over...
I actually like Dart above Shooter.
Oh, yeah.
I think he has a higher ceiling. I think he's just proven more. Like, the SEC is a tougher league than the Big 12. And, I don't know, I like Jackson Dart. He wasn't entitled. He had to work. And you'll get to hear my rant about Shooter in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get there. I'm trying to pull up a tweet, too, when we get to that rant as well. But
like, I like seeing the local guys do well. It's interesting, both Corner Canyon quarterbacks drafted by New York teams. It feels like Corner Canyon and New York, that attitude, style just seems to go together.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm happy for Jackson. It'll be good for him.
No, I'm stoked for him. I've always liked Jackson Dart. I thought he might have been the next BYU quarterback when he was transferring out of USC, but I think the fit at Ole Miss was perfect for him. I mean, clearly, the 25th pick? Yeah, 25th pick in the draft. I mean, not saying BYU couldn't have gotten him there, but I mean, Dart's great. I played against him in high school, and
there you go.
Yeah, he was. It's one fun thing about playing at Westlake, especially when I was playing. You had to play Zach one year, and then next year was Jackson Dart. So, that's how
playing two NFL quarterbacks. No biggie.
Yeah, that's how my high school experience was when it came to quarterbacks. But in fact, Zach Wilson set a state record on us for passing yards, I think, which then I think Jackson Dart then broke it later. Not against us, thankfully, but I feel like every Corner Canyon quarterback breaks the previous quarterback's records.
Sam, then Devin Brown, then Helaman. What was the? He was from played at Tentview for a while, but then he transferred over to Corner Canyon.
He's going to A&M, right? I think.
Yeah.
Gosh, I can't find. I had the tweet pulled up, but no. Jackson Dart's a baller. I think he'll do well in New York. I I was listening to the radio, and DJ and PK on the Zone. They had Jackson Dart's dad join the show, and PK Patrick Kinahan, he brought up how I guess Colin Cowherd was talking about Jackson Dart and how ironically he said if he goes into the New York market, like getting drafted by the Giants, that he's going to fail. And the sole reasoning he was saying that is because he was basing off of Zach Wilson, that they went to the same high school, that they're from Utah. That was it. I'm like, that is just the laziest argument. Yeah. Like, and they have very similar play styles, but I think Jart is more... he's smarter and I think more composed, I guess, with his decision making.
And I don't think Jackson Dart is a member. And
yeah, I'm not sure.
But
actually.
like I know Zach's not active, and so it's like you're not getting the Utah culture in those two kids. No. And so it's like I don't know. I feel like with Zach, like the culture didn't seem to be the problem, but it was more of just like it being the Jets.
No, and that's exactly who was it? I think it was Riley Nelson. He also joined the show, and they were also having this conversation. And the situation the Giants are gonna, the situation Jackson Dart is going into with the Giants is much more stable than the situation was with Zach and the Jets. The Jets haven't been stable since like 2006. When they had Mark Sanchez. I think it was 2006 when they had Mark Sanchez. Ever since then, it's been a freaking dumpster fire of an organization. I mean, the Giants obviously have won 2 Super Bowls this century.
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, they were they a playoff team 2 years ago? 3 years ago? I can't...
I feel like Daniel Jones got in the playoffs.
They were at least a contender. I can't remember. Yeah. I can't remember the seedings and such. They're at least contending. So Mike Vrabel has this system. He has the answers to create a winning club. And with the additions of Abdul Carter, I think on the defensive end, that's a huge thing. I think he's the best player in the draft. And to go number 3, I think is a steal for New York. I mean, obviously... Tennessee wasn't looking for anyone other than Cam Ward.
Yeah.
I don't understand if the Jets aren't the worst franchise in the NFL, it's the Browns. Because why would you trade away the number 2 pick when you have probably the best like talent overall, like generational talent in Travis Hunter?
See, I actually really like the fact that they did that because I don't think they would have been able to use Hunter in like an effective way just because I don't know. That's me just filling space, but
no,
the real reason
I get
like
what you're
it
saying.
Is like so they get the Jaguars' first round pick next year now. And so if the Jaguars suck next year and the Browns suck, which they're the Browns, and they've got 4 quarterbacks that are going to be vying for a starting job. So that'll be quite interesting. But, like, if both those teams suck, like, I think next year's draft class is going to be a lot better than this year's. And so you're going to have 2 top 10 picks, and you're going to be able to start off good in 2026. And so I think the Browns are starting to look forward, saying, okay, we know we're not going to get the things we need. They probably knew they weren't taking a quarterback for a couple of picks, and so it's just like, okay, we'll pass on this stuff for now. We'll kind of start the rebuild or finish up the rebuild this year, so when next year comes, they can run full speed with whatever quarterback they decide to take, whether it's Archie Manning, Cade Klubnik, or someone else. They're not Arch Manning.
I mean, is his name officially Archie or is it Arch?
don't
I
know.
mean,
Let me
I
look it
think,
up.
well, so Arch, the current Arch, his name is Archie, but I think Grandpa Arch, I think his name is also Archie.
I think so. So Arch is Archibald Charles
Archibald.
Manning. And then the older is Elisha Archibald Manning III. That's Grandpa.
So Archibald, so Grandpa Arch, that's his middle name. He went by Arch instead of Elijah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what he said? Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Anyway, what I was gonna say, in reference to Archibald, was I don't know if I can jump out and say he's a better quarterback than Cam Ward, because Cam Ward's pretty dang good. I mean, he had a spectacular game against, I can't remember, I don't think he played in, no, he didn't play against Alabama. What was the game where he came in? He played a couple games when Ewers was hurt last season. I felt like there's one that he just stood out against a really good opponent. I can't think of it right now. But anyway, in those games that he was starting, he was great. It looked like a more athletic Peyton Manning, honestly.
Mm.
Like a Peyton Manning that could actually run or like was actually mobile. So if I'm whoever is wanting to tank, I guess, I mean, that's not really a thing in the NFL, which is kind of surprising to see, because you don't really see teams trying to lose, or if they are, they're doing a really good job at hiding it. But whoever has that number one pick, that quarterback class, especially just looking at the highlight of Archie Manning, who you would assume it would be the top quarterback prospect, would be huge.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens next year, but that's kind of why I think the Browns did what they did. I think the most surprising thing for me, though, of the draft is seeing them take what's the Oregon quarterback's name?
Dylan Gabriel.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm
and then
confused.
also Shedeur at 144. Like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why they did that. Like, I can. The only possible reason is them just saying, like, look, this guy's sliding. Like, we might as well just take him here just because he's here.
Exactly. That's what I heard a lot of people say is, well, the whole draft cast was, okay, like, after round 2, okay, round 3, the biggest name is Shedeur Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, round 3 goes by, nothing. Day 3 goes into day 3. What? Yeah, because day 1 is just the first round. Day 2 is the second, third, and fourth, and then
just second and third.
Second and third. Okay, yeah. So go into day 3, fourth round, Shedeur, biggest name on the board. Well, now we're going to round 5, and then finally gets picked. But it's crazy. I'm surprised that he went so far down. I'm not surprised he didn't get picked in the first round. Because I don't see him. I tried to find this tweet because it was supposedly from an NFL GM when they were going through the interviews process, and it was funny at the beginning of the tweet. That's why I wanted to bring it up, because at the beginning of the tweet it was very funny. They referenced Jim McMahon, because Jim McMahon, when he was going into the league, had such a swagger, freaking sunglasses at night kind of a guy. But he wasn't very cocky, I guess. Like, he was confident in himself and his playing ability, but he wasn't, like, in your face about it, necessarily. Whereas Shedeur, the rumor from this supposed GM is he would come in for the interview process and, one, not be prepared at all. Like, the questions that they throw at him, he would give terrible answers. I think they asked, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Like, almost like just very typical interview questions. like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And he says, mayor of the city, and laughs and like slaps his knee and like crap like that. I guess he came into the interview with headphones on, with music playing, had his whole entourage with him. Like, this guy thinks he's Deion Sanders for all people. Like, if you're going into the league, like, your dad's not going to punch your ticket as a first round pick, even though I'm sure that is what he thought. It's also funny. Shiloh Sanders, his brother, he just got signed with the Bucks, I think, but I don't know if it was on the live when he was like telling everyone he got signed or not, or if it was during Shador's. But he's basically saying how Deion was acting as their manager and talking to the teams and stuff, and that was very interesting because Deion isn't very liked around many organizations except the Cowboys and maybe the Falcons, but
so I think that's it. Like, after hearing that, I think the reason he didn't get picked high was because he interviewed poorly, and then I think the reason he fell so far after that is because he didn't have an agent. It's because his dad
probably
was there. Like, I think it's the combination of those two that led to him falling. And when I heard like those two and like heard it more in detail what it was all about, I honestly wasn't as shocked seeing him slide that far.
No, I thought it was funny, honestly, just because I'm like, yeah, this is what this guy did. I just kept playing the moment. I don't know who they're playing, but I think Shiloh got his first pick of the season, or only pick of his career at Colorado, and they're all celebrating, and Shador went down into the end zone with him, and the ball boy on the sideline was trying to get the ball from him, like doing his job, and they like freaked out and like didn't want to give him the ball, and then for some reason Shador stayed behind for a little bit and started like smack talking and telling the ball boy that he's gonna like freaking whoop him or something. Like, what? Like, this is a ball boy. Like, this guy is an unpaid student at. I don't know if it was for Colorado, which if it was the ball boy for Colorado, that's crazy to me. But if it was for other team, like, this guy is just doing this to probably get good seats for the game, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, he's just doing his job and just watching football. Like, and that, I think, goes to show you his personality, which is, I think, very toxic. And I love how Mel Kiper was just the whole draft night, the whole first round, second round was just about Shador and how everyone's passing. I'm like, how can you not pick Shador? Freaking President Trump tweets, which I don't know how legit that tweet was, but Trump tweeted out saying like, how does the NFL not pick Shador Sanders? He has such a great talent and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm not surprised he wasn't a high draft pick. I don't like his game, honestly. I think he's overhyped. That same tweet was saying if he was thrown into the SEC in Jackson Dart's position, he would not be in conversation for the Heisman like he was last season, or potentially even a first round draft pick in the talks of that. So
yeah. Wild stuff. Interesting to hear all the announcers talk about in the bowl game. Oh, Shador Sanders could be the number 1 overall pick. Oh, will definitely be a first-round pick. And then he falls to number 5. So,
yep.
Kind of funny. But staying along BYU, we'll finish out our draft talk with Mark Pope's first ever draft pick is Caleb Lohner in the NFL. Third BYU basketball player ever to get drafted. Alongside Bronson Kafusi and Cameron Jordan, who was a walk-on and then transferred to USC and played football there. But I thought that was kind of funny. And then we got Tyler Batty to the Vikings, Jacob Robinson to the Niners, Caleb Etienne to the Bengals, Darius Lassiter, minicamp invite to the Eagles, Braden Kime, minicamp invite to the Bears and the Chiefs. And then Mark Collins signed with the Winnipeg Blue something of the Canadian Football League.
That's great. I was hoping for Batty to get drafted. I thought he was going to climb up because so many edge rushers were getting drafted Like, I think he was in ESPN's rankings, he was like 30th or something like that in the position.
Mm-hmm.
And by the 5th round, he was like number 9 or something on the board. I'm like, shoot, at this rate, he might get drafted. And I was hoping that he would, because I think he's a baller, and I think he's like a diamond in the rough. So I think the Vikings, hopefully he can get through camp and like get his spot, because I'm trying to think of the Vikings D-line. I can't really think of any opposing like a big name on the line.
Stars, yeah.
And that's why I'm like, I think
cool,
that's
though,
a good spot for him then.
Yeah, like Batty was one of the first. He was in like the first 6 undrafted free agents that were announced. So like he was a hot commodity when it came to the undrafted free agents. So that's exciting to see. But anything else with the draft you wanted to touch on before we head to the portal?
The only thing you brought it up was Caleb Lohner getting drafted. I can't really wrap my head around it.
Yeah.
I can't really think. First off, I didn't know he had even put his name into the draft. I don't think he got a combine invite. I don't think he got any sort of invite to any of the. He definitely got the main combine. I know there's a couple smaller ones. So, 1, why did he put his name into the draft? 2, why did the Broncos use a draft pick to draft him? He has 4 catches in his college football career.
Hey, he's done something not many people have done, and that's catch a touchdown pass from Isaac Wilson. So, but
did he get one from Rising too?
He may have, yeah. I think he had 3 touchdown catches last year. Which, I mean, like, that's not a bad thing, to have 3 touchdown passes. And I think he's a great threat in the red zone with his jumping ability and his height. Like, I think, he's got potential. I just think,
I'm sure they see him.
It's funny.
I think they see him as he has great athletic ability, but he's like a work in progress, where I think they can mold him into the player they want. But I don't understand why you wouldn't just sign him, like, instead of just draft him, because now he's guaranteed money from you guys. Why not just sign him, see if that potential is there, and if so, then boom, you got something that you didn't think you had. But now you're kind of stuck with him in a way, with a guy who has probably 8 snaps of football under his belt, so, which is better than Did the Bills? Was it the Bills who signed a basketball player who had never played football in his life?
Oh yeah, it was like a couple years ago, right?
It was this year.
Oh really?
Yeah, I can't.
I didn't hear about that.
It might not have been the Bills. Who was it? Some NFL team signed a guy who has not played a single down of football. Never played in high school. Never played in college. He only played basketball, and I can't remember who signed him, but at least Caleb Lohner has like 8 snaps, so that's good. If anyone can't notice, we're currently filming this at 12:10 in the morning, so if we seem like beat and exhausted, that's why. But this is also our 10th episode, which I think is like a milestone, which is crazy. But
it's exciting stuff. Because it is late, we will probably just touch on these topics real quick. Next episode we do, we'll probably maybe we should do like a men's basketball off season so far. So we'll touch on big news. Richie Saunders coming back, if you haven't heard, and then I already forgot his name. Let me pull it back up.
Out of Southern Illinois.
Kennard Davis out of Southern Illinois. I actually saw him yesterday on campus. I was walking to work, and
really?
all of a sudden I see Coach John Linehan driving a golf cart around with 3 African-American dudes sitting in there with him, and I was thinking, okay, well, one of them is probably a recruit, seeing that it's a coach driving it around and all that stuff, and so I was almost going to stop him and say, hey, which one of you is the recruit? Like, you should come here. Little did I know, like, a couple minutes later, he posted on his Instagram that he was committed. So I'm excited.
He's good, too.
Averaged 17 points a game last year. I'm pumped. He could see some starting minutes.
Oh, yeah. We talked about it before we started on the talks of Darian Williams. Like,
yeah,
on where that is, because I've heard no movement. There's been no talks. I don't even know if he's still in the transfer portal or if that was just a rumor that he was going to the transfer portal. Like, I haven't heard any. He is. Okay, he is in the portal. So, I mean, if we have any more NIL money, then I don't see why we don't try and get him. Because if we do, then why not just give us the Final Four berth right now? So
yeah, it's exciting. Basketball is going to be very, very fun next year. Jimmer retiring too. Maybe we'll touch on that next episode.
Oh yeah.
But it's kind of just some final heavy hitters. 3 big transfer news. 3, 2. I think just 2. And I guess Brock Harris committed while we were away. I think so that's big.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he did.
Harrison Taggart and Keelan Marion entering the transfer portal. Keelan Marion announced today that he is it's been reported, I should say, that he's heading to Miami.
Like
the
24/7 Sports or something like that. Yeah.
So I'm excited for him. I think he wants to be played more as a wide receiver. But before I kind of share my thoughts on those two, what was your reaction? What are your thoughts on Marion and Taggart leaving?
I'm more upset about Harrison Taggart leaving, I think. I mean, he transferred to BYU from Oregon, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So he was a pretty big. I can't remember if we offered him out of high school. I believe we did, and he just picked Oregon over us initially. Anyway, he was a pretty big piece to that defense last season. So I was kind of surprised in his decision. I saw he tweeted out today. South Carolina ? And like the eyes emoji, so that might be where he's heading, which is kind of. I mean, at this point, it's just all about the money. Like, where's the money coming from? How much are you getting? Which I think that's the main reason why Keelan Marion left. Is now I don't know him. Never talked to him. I've only heard some snippets from post-game press conferences, but. Seems like one of those guys that heard that AJ DeBonsa's gained $8 million and thinks that he deserves a little bit of that dough and uses his All-American status to maybe try and leverage his NIL, which, I mean, by all means, you're an All-American. That's awesome. I mean, one of the latest in a long stretch for BYU. You're an All-American on kick return. I mean, you weren't an All-American receiver by any means, but so that kind of bugged me because I can see where his intentions were from a mile away, I feel like. So that one wasn't such a big blow, but Harrison Taggart's a little bit of a more question mark. I mean, he was a big piece to the defense, so yeah, I can see why he would want that NIL money, but I don't know. It's bittersweet.
Hot takes. Those takes are burning hot. The stove is still burning from those ones. See, I actually think NIL has nothing to do with Keelan Marion.
Oh, really?
I do. I think nothing is maybe a stretch. I think it had, I don't think it was the driving factor. I think he wanted to play wide receiver, and I think he got beat out in the starting job in the spring ball with Tay Nakua, Cody Hagan, one of the McKenzie brothers. You have
JoJo
Phillips. Kingston.
We have a new 4-star receiver coming into the program, don't we? Yeah.
It might be a tight end. I forget. But yeah.
I think we have a 4-star receiver coming in who's supposed to be pretty good.
Okay. Sweet then. Yes, you have all those guys. I don't think he was going to see a lot of minutes in the wide receiver position. I think he didn't want to just be a kick returner, and I think I don't know if him saying he thought he deserved more minutes in the wide receiver department. I don't know if that's how I feel about saying that, but
no one deserves more. You don't deserve minutes; you earn them. So that's.
Yeah, I think he wanted more snaps, and I just think after spring ball he recognized that he probably wasn't going to get them, and so he threw his name in the portal. And then I also think same kind of thing with Taggart. I think Taggart got beat out for starting linebacker spot. So especially when you have Glasgow and Kelly, who are already pretty big, and Taggart was the number 3, which he played significantly less snaps than the both of them last year already. And then you have Sione Sela, I think is how you say his last name.
Yeah,
he
the
made a sack.
linebacker, right?
Yep, he made a sack He had a sack in the Colorado game. It was a big third down where it put them out of field goal range, where they ended up missing the field goal in the first quarter, one of the earlier quarters. But,
second, I believe. Yeah.
I think he beat him out in spring practice as well, and so I think they just both saw they weren't going to get as many minutes as they were wanting, and so they said, look, we love BYU, but what's best for us is to go find minutes somewhere else.
That's a more respectful take. Like I said, I come with a hot and wild, outlandish, in your face, and you're like, well, they didn't have the minutes, so. And I'm like, Keelan Barron did it for the money. He wanted all the money. And I wasn't get enough. He had too many Built bars and not enough dollars in his pocket. That's what it was.
Going from Provo to Miami is going to be quite fun. I saw someone post something about that today, and I was like, that's a funny take.
Oh yeah, he saw. So. Yeah, what would you pick, South Beach or Provo? I'm sure that was the deciding factor. They asked him that question. He said, "You're right. Get me out of here."
Taking my talents to South Beach.
Yep, exactly.
So that's fun. I'm hearing rumors.
I hope you're right and I'm wrong, but I feel this whole NIL-ish, all this NIL money is just, it's good for BYU in terms of they can get bigger names, but they're also going to be losing those key players that they got that were under the radar and built up to become these big key players that are now leaving and seeing their potential and getting noticed by other big schools. So it's the pros and cons. You take some, you give some. So,
well, as we kind of finish up our talks of the transfer portal, nothing's official yet, but I have heard from an unnamed source that there is a specific quarterback who has already signed to come to Provo, but is just waiting to announce it. So,
is this unnamed quarterback? Did someone potentially 24/7 Sports crystal ball them as 100% to USC?
No.
Not that quarterback?
No, it is that quarterback. I think I saw it was 100% or something like that to USC.
Oh, they had it 100% crystal balled at USC.
Dang, that must have been the latest update. I haven't seen that one,
but
again,
unnamed source says it is
unnamed
pen to
source
paper.
isn't on the team. He doesn't deal with recruiting, and this was just a conversation I heard him having with someone else, and so obviously if this. Yeah. So,
I think we just found our thumbnail and titles. So,
I don't think this is big enough, noteworthy to say, okay, this is for sure happening.
This could be our big break. We either got to roll with this, or we got to just stick where we're at.
I don't know if this is enough. This source is enough to break the news. It's just this person has.
There's some guy named Lighter Ryans that's good at throwing pigskins and
something like that. But yeah, the source it is a reputable source, but not a source that can break the news, if that makes sense. He's not in a position where he can know for certain.
That makes sense. I get that. I was thinking about reaching out to this source that I have in context with, who might know a little more. Maybe I can reach out, see if he knows something, and maybe bring it to the show.
There you go.
If you know Mitch Harper, I know Mitch pretty well from I'll just say I know him pretty well, but
Dang,
we'll see what
really
he
good.
has. Let's see what he has to say. But
Hey. But yeah, like I said, this isn't like something that you go and say like, "Hey, I heard this." Like, I definitely wouldn't like start talking about this as if it's the truth. It's just like something I heard in passing. It wasn't a conversation with me. It was just something I heard, and my ears perked up, and I was like, "Okay, you don't say." So, all I'm saying is I wouldn't necessarily believe that USC prediction from 24/7 Sports. So, I'll throw that out there.
well, all I will say is I am believing in our thumbnail and title now because I think that might work. So,
Hey, you never know. Come on,
all
Ryan.
right. Well, hopefully we can
Come home.
come back next episode and have some juicy stuff. Maybe
Should
some
be
more
exciting.
confirmation. Maybe next time it's already confirmed. I thought he had mentioned when he was going to announce, but I don't think he had
I haven't
said.
seen anything yet. But I did see in Brock Harris's Instagram Live when he announced that he said, "I know where he's going," as if they'd already talked about it together. So,
Because they have a good relationship, which is kind of crazy because he's a Cali boy and Harris is from Southern Utah.
yeah.
So
I think they're just
I
both
mean,
big BYU fans. So,
yeah, which I mean I know some guys from California, but I was never like buddy with them.
yeah.
So it makes you think. I wish he would just say when he's going to announce because then I can stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
Hey, if that's the case, then one, maybe that's a reason why Taggart and Marion are gone because someone said, "Hey, we don't have enough NIL money because we're saving some for this other guy who's going to come in and like bring in more players, so we got to kind of cut the checks a little short for you two." Maybe they're just giving it to it straight. like that famous source said, "We will not be outbid by anyone." If that means cutting Keelan Marion's NIL funds down, that's what it will be.
Folsom, California.
We'll see. Well, hopefully we can find out next episode if we have any reliable sources or official announcements, but hopefully we can start getting back on track, putting out more episodes a little more frequent, but we'll do it when we can. So
For sure.
all right, well, I'm Connor. This is Cam.
Cam?
This is episode 10. We made it to episode 10, so hopefully you can stick with us for another 10, but Scoreboard Sports
Podcast.
So. Right?
We didn't even rehearse that or anything. We just both said that at the same time. So
We just said that. We're also really tired, so this outro is going long.
12:25
so we're going to
a.m.
bed.
Going to bed. See you later.
We're going to bed. Good night.